Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. In today's video, I'll be talking about Chase Young's press conference with the 49ers and how he kind of called out the Commanders organization. Also, Carson Wentz just signed with the LA Rams. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell as well. All right, so let's get into it. And I know a lot of people, don't care anymore about Chase Young, and that is totally fine. But I saw some other people, make a video about this, so I just wanted to bring it to you guys real quick. So Chase Young, rocking number 92 with the San Francisco 49ers. It looks weird. It really does. But, I think they had a bye week last week. So he's going to make his debut this week. And it's going to be really weird seeing him in another uniform. I mean, already is seeing him walk out there, not only with the 92, but with the 49ers colors on too. It's still crazy. I mean, it looks like, it looks like him at Ohio State, basically, and he's going to be there with Nick Bosa, but it's absolutely crazy that him and Montez Sweat are both on different teams. They got compensation for both of them, but it's still crazy that both those guys that were first-round picks aren't here anymore. And then Chase Young had his 49ers introduction yesterday, and he had a lot to say. A lot of the things were negative. He didn't really directly mention, the Commanders' culture wasn't good, but he kind of did at the same time, saying the vibe's a lot different. It's definitely a building of winners, and he just said a bunch of different things and took like slight jabs at coaches and stuff like that. And I know people are going to be like, classic Chase Young, whatever. I don't have a big issue with it because on the way out, the Commanders, first off, he said they didn't even tell him he was getting traded. Like, he found out through social media, which that's not the right way to do it. You should tell your player that he's getting traded so him and his family don't have to find out through social media. I don't like that. And then also, there was that rumor that came out of the report that the Commanders feel like losing Chase Young is going to be an addition by subtraction. If I was a player and both those things happened to me, I wouldn't, and I really didn't mess with the coach, which, seems like, Ron Rivera and Chase Young never really vibed. I would be upset too. And I would try to defend myself as much as possible. And that's kind of what he's doing in his press conference. So I know people are going to be mad at him, but you got to think about his perspective where he's salty that he got, maybe he's not salty he got traded, but he's salty they didn't even tell him that he was getting traded. They told Montez Sweat. And then also the report that came out. And then just a lot of negative things that Rivera has indirectly said about him. So I'll go ahead and play you guys this part of the Chase Young press conference. Let's see, make sure it's not muted there. And it's basically what I was talking about. Let me go back. There we go.
Nick is here. Always been a big brother to me. Even at Ohio State. I'm just stepping in here for, today. Got in here last week. Just the culture, the vibe is a lot different. I definitely know that I'm in the build with winners.
Y'all can be mad, as mad as you guys want. I know some people are going to be like, why is Chase Young still talking about this team or whatever? It is what it is. He was a second overall pick in Washington in 2020, and he never fully lived up to that potential. Part of that was injuries, and part of that was him. But he has every right to defend himself after kind of the reports that were coming out once he got traded. I don't really like that they were putting that out after he got traded. Just let it be. He was traded. That's fine. Let the players that are still on the team do the talking for you. Like if our defense starts to be elite and James Smith-Williams and Casey Toole starts being elite, well, then we'll know that maybe Chase Young was, trading him was an addition by subtraction, but you don't need to say it. And let's just keep it real. The D-line on Sunday wasn't that great, especially the two guys that are getting paid $20+ million a year, Inderon Payne and Jonathan Allen. They didn't, register a QB hit, a sack, or a QB hit or a sack or anything like that, or a tackle for loss. So they need to step up a little bit. I think James Smith-Williams had some, a couple pressures and a QB hit. He was okay, and I think, Casey Toole's had a good year. I think they'll be fine, but I just, I think Chase Young has a right to defend himself. And in this, real quick, there's a bunch of other stuff that, he talked about. So on his reaction to the trade, honestly, I got everything off social media just like you guys. I was just playing my game and it happened. So there you go. On if he thought there was a chance it could happen. I mean, yeah, definitely heard my name in a lot of things, me and Montez Sweat, but that's just something you can't really focus on. It's part of the business, and my job is just to play ball. So good answer there. And then, in terms of the next one, we just listened to his response for that. And then on what he can tell, or how he can tell a difference in the culture so soon. Just the players, the spirit in the locker room, the spirit of the coaches. It's just different. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing at Ohio State, where it's like you're expected to win, and it's just like the vibe of we're gonna win. You know what I'm saying? So it reminds me of Ohio State, but it's obviously going to feel these are grown men. I'm just excited to be blessed with the opportunity to be with this franchise. So a little bit different there, where he's kind of, not taking a diss at the players, but at a certain point, he is saying that the spirit is different in the locker room. The players are different. At that point, maybe that's something you don't want to say. And I don't think he was trying to take a diss at his teammates or a jab at his teammates, because he always had good relationships with those guys. But I know some fans had an issue with what he said there. And on if anything has changed or affirmed what he thought about the 49ers now that he's here. The culture, I see why they win, just the details of each play. The details of my assignment are much more greater, so I see why they win. That right there, out of everything that he said, was the biggest thing for me. That is a jab at the coaches. Just the details of each play, the details of my assignment are much more greater, so I see why they win. That part, that last sentence or two is, okay, that's a jab at the coaches. That is a jab at the coaches for sure. Maybe at Jack Del Rio, Ron Rivera, maybe some of the defensive line or other defensive coaches as well. On if he's mad Washington trade him, he said no, and a bunch of other stuff there. And then we'll talk a little bit about the 49ers coach, that he likes to be coached hard. That's just going to make him go harder. And then rushing a lot from standing up was his preference, or something Washington asked him of, he said it was a comfort level with certain things we had to do in this defense. I'll keep it there, and he's not going to continue to do it. So it seems like it was something that Washington wanted him to do, and a lot of interesting nuggets from that press conference. So Chase Young, when he comes back to DC, he's not, or I think it might be at home when we play the 49ers, it's not going to be super happy to be back, and it's not going to be, he's not going to be happy to see those coaches and everything. He'll be happy to see some of those players like John Allen, Daron Payne, but it sucks it had to end this way. And again, it's part of it is how you trade them, and how you handle that trade process is how things will end. It's just, I don't know. I think it would have been better if they would have told him earlier that he was getting traded, and then also not put out that report about addition by subtraction. That was honestly the biggest thing that probably really upset him, is that report there. Because you're just kind of talking trash about him, and just let the players do the talking there. But it is what it is. Chase Young's gone, and I think Ron Rivera will probably be gone as well after this year. And the Rams have signed quarterback Carson Wentz, so we play the Rams in a few weeks, I think. We'll see if Matthew Stafford is there by that time. But let's see, Commanders schedule. We'll go to the schedule right here, but we play the Seahawks and then the Giants, which, the Giants don't have Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor for that game. And then we play the Cowboys, Dolphins. So we play the Rams on December 17th, so over a month away. So at that point, I would assume Matthew Stafford's back, but could be Carson Wentz, and he'll probably end up throwing like 300 plus yards on us. But we have a decent stretch here where we can possibly win some games. The Seahawks game's a big game if we want to make the playoffs. This is the game you win. If you win that game, you're in a pretty good spot, 5-5 going into that Giants game where they own us. But if they're their third string quarterback, we got to win that game. So if you win that game, you got 6 wins heading into the really tough stretch where you play the Cowboys, Dolphins, Rams, Jets, 49ers, and Cowboys. So if you can get to that Giants game with 6 wins, then realistically, you're going to have to win 2 minimum out of those 6, because 8 wins might get you in the playoffs in this NFC, but realistically, 3 out of those 6. But if you lose this Giants game, then you're going to be, 5-7? So you're going to have to win, probably 3 out of those next 6 or 4 out of those next 6. So it'll be much tougher for sure. But yeah, that's it for today's video. They also made a couple minor roster moves as well. I forgot his name, but they got a guard from the Eagles, they promoted him to the active roster from the Eagles practice squad, and then Ricky Stromberg has been placed on IR. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.